Mastering anger, understanding, managing, and supporting loved ones with wild tempers. Anger is a normal human emotion, an instinctive response to threats or injustice. But when anger becomes frequent, intense, or uncontrollable, it can cause harm to personal relationships, workplace dynamics, and even physical health. Families, in particular, often bear the emotional burden when a loved one has a wild temper. This video explores the causes of anger, its psychological and physiological roots, and effective strategies for both personal anger management and dealing with angry individuals, especially within the family. Anger is a secondary emotion, often arising from deeper feelings like hurt, fear, frustration, or helplessness. It activates the fight-or-flight response, flooding the body with adrenaline, increasing heart rate, and narrowing focus on the perceived threat. Healthy anger is expressed constructively, motivates positive change, and is controlled and proportional. Unhealthy anger, on the other hand, can be explosive or suppressed, leads to verbal or physical aggression, and is often disproportionate and damaging. So, let's talk a bit about psychological triggers. Sometimes, unresolved trauma or past abuse can play a huge role in how we react emotionally. People with a low frustration tolerance might find it, well, really tough to handle even minor setbacks. Perfectionism, or having really high expectations, can also make anger flare up when things don't go as planned. Then, there are feelings of injustice or unfairness, which can be, especially tough to deal with. And finally, a sense of powerlessness can make someone feel trapped, leading to strong emotional reactions. Now, moving on to biological and neurological factors. An imbalance in neurotransmitters like serotonin can, honestly, affect mood and impulse control. There are also specific disorders such as intermittent explosive disorder, or IED, which can make anger harder to manage. Conditions like ADHD, bipolar disorder, or PTSD can also contribute to difficulties with emotional regulation. And of course, hormonal imbalances can sometimes have a significant impact on how a person feels and reacts. Finally, let's consider environmental and familial factors. Growing up in a violent or volatile home environment can really shape how someone deals with anger. Sometimes people model their behavior after aggressive parents or caregivers without even realizing it. Substance abuse, especially alcohol, often lowers inhibitions and increases the likelihood of angry outbursts. And chronic stress or ongoing financial hardship can just add another layer of pressure, making it even harder to manage emotions. When someone in your family frequently loses their temper, it's really easy to feel blamed, intimidated, or just helpless. Their anger may seem personal, but often it actually reflects their own inner turmoil or emotional dysregulation. So, let's talk about some common traits of a family member with anger issues. They might be easily triggered by small irritations, feel misunderstood or disrespected, have poor impulse control, tend to blame others, and quite often feel remorse after their outbursts. Now, here's what not to do. Don't argue back or match their tone. Don't take it personally. Don't try to reason with them in the heat of the moment. And don't assume your silence will fix the situation. So, in these situations, it's really important to stay calm and non-confrontational. Try to use a low, steady tone and, keep your body language open but non-threatening. Take slow breaths to keep your own nervous system grounded. Now, when it comes to setting boundaries, you might say something like, "I'm willing to talk, but not when you're yelling." Just be clear about what behavior is unacceptable and what you will not tolerate. Next, offer support, not solutions. You could try saying, "It seems like you're really overwhelmed. Can I help?" And, it's best to avoid phrases like, "You're overreacting" or "calm down," because these can invalidate the other person's emotions. If the situation escalates, it's okay to leave the room or suggest taking a break. Also, make sure that children or vulnerable members are not exposed to any trauma. For the person with anger issues, there are some long-term strategies that can really help. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, helps us reframe those thought patterns that often lead to anger. It also teaches important coping mechanisms for handling tough situations. Now, when it comes to anger management programs, these are usually structured workshops or group sessions. They focus on identifying triggers, practicing de-escalation techniques, and improving emotional regulation. Mindfulness and meditation, when practiced regularly, can actually reduce our reactivity and promote greater emotional awareness. Physical outlets are also really helpful. Exercise, for instance, can lower stress hormones like cortisol. Activities like martial arts or yoga, they offer a more structured way to develop control. And finally, journaling or art therapy provides a healthy release for those bottled-up emotions. So, for family members, there are a few things you can do. Family therapy can really help improve communication and mutual understanding. It's important to educate yourself. Learn about anger and emotional dysregulation. Support groups can be a big help, especially if the anger becomes abusive. And try to encourage healthy habits like getting proper sleep, eating well, and avoiding triggers such as alcohol. It's crucial to support your loved one without excusing their behavior. Remember, accountability is key to healing. You can offer love, patience, and resources, but let them do the inner work. And don't sacrifice your emotional well-being trying to fix them. Dealing with a family member with a wild temper is deeply challenging, but not hopeless. With the right mix of understanding, healthy distance, professional intervention, and consistent communication, relationships can heal. Anger doesn't make someone a bad person, only someone in pain, in need of help. You cannot change them, but you can change how you respond. And often, that's the first step toward real transformation. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe to my channel for more insightful topics.